Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation after my very somber video talking about the Psychomancer. It is time to make a happier video about our friend, the Chronomancer. This video is going out to all my 40K fanatics out there, and especially my cronies. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do turn on the bell for notification to get notified on all the content we bring here on the channel. But right now, today, we want to jump over into the Chronomancer. Chronomancer was a 9th edition staple. Armies had two of them, two of them. It was almost guaranteed that everyone knew what the Chronomancer did, and you were running him at all times. He was fast, you target a unit, that unit's got an invuln, and re-rolling failed charges, which a lot of people forgot about. What's there not to love? Well, the Chronomancer got toned down a lot. However, he has some different ways of functioning now. The invuln is not his answer, and that's not his utility, but he still has some very cool and unique abilities to him. So let's jump over into our Chronomancer. So for starters, the Chronomancer once again has the same stat lines that we see for all of our Crypteks. 5-inch move, toughness 4, 4-up save, 4 wounds, 6 leadership, and objective control 1. He lost the Entropic Lance, which makes me sad because that was such a silly and cool weapon. In exchange, he only has the Aeon Stave, which is a blast weapon for D6 shots, ballistic skill 4, but with command protocols, he'll be hitting on a 3, strength 5, -1, 1 damage. Over into his combat profile, he's got 3 attacks, weapon skill 4, strength 5, AP 1, 1 damage. Not a bad shooting profile. I mean, the blast and D6 shots allows him to join up to some of our shootier units, especially with his other abilities, and put out some damage. I really like the way that blast is this edition. I feel like it does a better job of being able to hit units that have more models in it. And even down to just a 5-man squad of Marines is going to give you an extra shot. So he attaches really well into the units that, again, all Crypteks attach to: Immortals, Warriors, and Lichguard. So what are we doing with him now? You know, we don't have a 5-up invuln. What do we have? So for starters, we have the Time Splinter Mantle. While this model is leading a unit, each time an attack targets that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So you lost the invuln, and now we have -1 to hit. Okay, I mean, granted, yes, invulns 9 times out of 10 better. -1 to hit, still not bad. But wait, there's more. The Chronomancer. In your shooting phase after this model's unit has shot, if it is not within engagement range of an enemy unit, that unit can make a normal move of up to 5 inches as if it were your movement phase. If it does, until the end of the phase, that unit is not eligible to charge. So, we got Fire and Fade. We've seen how powerful Eldar have been able to make Fire and Fade in the past. This ability, I've been messing around with Grey Knights as I plan on taking them to Columbus. One big reason is because there's a lot of stuff I'm working on Necrons and getting painted up, and I need some more basing supplies to finish off some stuff, and there's a lot of projects working there. And my Grey Knights is basically nearly ready, so I play them, but we'll talk about them later on. We're here to talk about Chronomancers. So with them, though, I've seen this, and this is an amazing ability. You have the ability to, first of all, Veil can be put on this guy. You can bring them through a monolith. And then after they shoot, move them another 5 inches. Now, you can move them behind a wall. They are infantry, so you can move them behind a wall and hide. You can move them to an objective, where some of the things like Necron Warriors have an objective control value too, so suddenly you're stealing an objective from an enemy on that. Drop in 9, move 5. That puts you, 4 inches away. So from the enemy, so if there is a little bit of room on an objective, boom, steal an objective like that. You can just progress forward and wall out your opponent and block their move, and put a brick of Necron warriors right in front of their faces, 4 inches away, and go, hi, this is now in front of you. You none shall pass. So there is a lot of tech that you can do off of this Cryptek. And I absolutely love them. I have not run one yet. I haven't played one yet because I have not been messing with warriors, but I really like the idea of putting a chronomancer with a brick of Necron warriors, being able to deep strike off a veil or come in off a monolith and then spread the whole squad out after shooting and just have this wave and this blob that just covers this area. Absolutely love it. Can't charge afterwards? That's okay. We really don't want to charge with our warriors. We want to shoot you. And that'll put us in a position that when you try to move or try and make any movements, okay, we can overwatch you from right there and have a lot of shots too. I really like the Chronomancer. I don't think he's number one. I think that there is a lot that we can do with him. Like I said, the monolith is an excellent tool, I believe, to use with it, or the veil, because you can cover so much board. And that's where I see the Chronomancer, is being able to steal objectives and just blob out. And that's the way I want to run, is I want to run the blob out. Take a 20-man brick, pull them through a monolith, deploy the unit within 6 inches of the monolith, shoot, and then spread the whole squad to just cover the surrounding area and cover that ground and just make this corner where it makes it very difficult to move through. You know, might be blocking some vehicles that suddenly have to try to go a different direction because they can't push forward through the rune, and the monolith is able to be safe and draw lanes and protect and prevent it from getting charged by some things, because those things can't get in position well. So the Chronomancer is, honestly, he is awesome. The Technomancer, by all means, is, in my opinion, the best of the unnamed Crypteks, and sometimes takes that role that the Chronomancer could possibly go into a unit. Lichguard don't do too well with him. The subtracting one from the hit roll is nice, but it's just they want to charge. And getting that extra move across the field for the 5 inches is okay. But I mean, a Technomancer or a epic hero is going to be more suited to go with the Lichguard. Immortals and Warriors seem to be the ones that play nice with having a Cryptek that isn't a Technomancer, because of what those guys bring to the table and the extra abilities that they bring in short supply. For me, I think a Chronomancer does really well with the squad of Necron Warriors. I would have went with Immortals if Immortals had better range. The 24-inch range puts you at a 29-inch threat zone, where any unit that's within 29 inches, you could move out 5 inches, then move back into your building. And I just feel like that's not quite enough to be efficient. When we talk about a 10-man unit and you're trying to stay at 29 or try and stay outside in that range, when you move the unit forward, you may not get everybody in range. If you try and cut that number down so that you're able to get everybody in range, then you start questioning if you're going to be able to get everyone back into cover where you want them to. Most of these scenarios in under 29 inches, when you start getting into like 26, 25, or 24 inches away, are achievable with the Immortals. But what are you getting off of that damage output, realistically? What are you getting off of that damage output to make them keep bouncing back, bouncing forward, bouncing back? It's going to make your opponent say, I need to answer these things, and try to move across and hit them. I like the aspect of getting the extra move, to actually use the extra move to get across the field and either block or control objectives. Now, for testing purposes, I do plan on, like I've said with a couple of these things, I do plan on running a Chronomancer in that fashion. One for warriors to bomb off of, and one that's going to have a big brick of Lichguard to come walking out behind a wall. You know, basically I'm going to be taking a lot of Crypteks in this list, and I'm going to try and attach them to everything I can. But that all around is where I see the Chronomancer. I think the Chronomancer is very, very, very playable. I think right now, at the early points of the meta, the Technomancer, it becomes the safest play. And as the meta evolves, and as we start getting more critical on the units that we're picking, the meta, and the situations we're in, I think the Chronomancer is going to start popping out more and more in lists, probably a one-off pick that's going to have one specific unit that it works with. But I see the Chronomancer definitely making more play as the edition grows. I think right now, just the Technomancer, all in all, is, again, the safe play. What it brings to the table in all scenarios translates well for the majority of armies. Being able to have a feel no pain is huge in those scenarios. The -1 to hit is good. And, you know, Fire and Fade, it's a brutal strategy. Brutal stratagem ability every time it's seen. It does very, very well. So it's just going to take time to see what is best. Is it best to bounce out the Immortals or move a brick an extra 5 inches? I mean, we're realistically looking at this and what we're talking about here. This is a way this guy attached. I mean, you can move a squad of Necron warriors 10 inches a turn on foot while still keeping a reanimator nearby to keep reanimating and start putting pressure with those warriors. I'm not saying you're going to get charge pressure, but when you get a 20-man warrior brick onto an objective on a flank, then it's going to take some time to peel. And that dude can get him there really, really quick to get you earlier point grabs than you possibly could have had. Or you get on the objective and your opponent has to kick you off, versus the opposite, where you're trying to push Necron warriors to take someone else off an objective that you are unable to control until you get enough bodies on there. So Chronomancer definitely gets an A grade for me. He just needs a little more, he needs more time for the meta to develop so he can see a role. So he can really see a play, and I think he's going to end up turning into a big brain play type character where you're gonna find that hole that you want to use him in, and that's where he's going to fit. And he's going to fit in certain builds, certain armies, and when you put him in there, he's going to be gold. That doesn't mean he's going to play in every army, which is when we start talking about the Technomancer, but he definitely is going to be someone that you can build a unit around and really wreck someone's day and really start confusing their plays when you have a unit that can either move out, fall back 5 inches afterwards, or press across the field in a faster fashion. Hopefully this was informative for you guys. Again, I have one more of the Crypteks to cover before we get into the named characters, and I'll be getting that video out for you soon. As always, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.